Branson, Missouri has grown into the family entertainment center that it is today, primarily because of its music history. Today we're going back to before there were high-quality cell phone cameras everywhere to take a look at shows, theaters, and entertainment, big and small, that are no longer a part of the Branson entertainment scene, but whose influences are felt every time you enter a Branson theater. 20-plus years ago, Branson looked different, but yet the same. Many of the theaters that are there today were there then, but with different names and shows. Others remain the same and have continued to entertain a growing Branson visitor count. Some theaters still bear entertainers' names, like Mickey Gilley and Andy Williams, but sadly those performers are no longer with us. Some theaters no longer exist, like the Grand Palace, the Caravelle, Jim Stafford Theater, the Starlight, or the original Baldknobbers Theater. Let's look back at some of the people and places when they were still entertaining Branson visitors of the day and creating the Branson entertainment scene we have today. We'll start with Mickey Gilley. The Mickey Gilley Theater in Branson, Missouri was opened by country music legend Mickey Gilley in 1990. Gilley had already established a successful career as a musician, and the theater quickly became a popular attraction in Branson, with Gilley himself headlining many of the shows. Joey Riley was a key member of the Mickey Gilley Show for over 30 years. He was a musician who played a variety of instruments and a comedian, known for his wit and ability to make audiences laugh. Riley began working with Gilley in the 1970s and was a fixture on the Mickey Gilley Show in Branson, Missouri. He continued to perform at the theater until his passing in 2017. In recent years, the Mickey Gilley Theater has continued to be a popular destination for visitors to Branson. Gilley continued to perform special appearances there until his passing in May of 2022. Jim Stafford is a multi-talented musician, comedian, and entertainer who's been entertaining audiences for over 4 decades. He first rose to fame in the 1970s with hit songs like Spiders and Snakes and My Girl Bill. He went on to host his own television show, The Jim Stafford Show, and even starred in a number of films. Jim Stafford also began performing in Branson in 1990, and by 1993 was performing in the theater that became his permanent home. He continued to perform there until 2020, with the exception of a period of a little over a year after the 2013 season. Another entertainer coming on the Branson scene in 1990 was Moe Bandy, performing at various theaters around town before eventually settling into his own theater, the Moe Bandy Americana Theater. Moe Bandy is a country music legend who first rose to fame in the 1970s with hits like Bandy the Rodeo Clown. Bandy's shows in Branson were always a family-friendly affair, with Bandy and his band putting on a show that left audiences tapping their feet and singing along. While Bandy no longer performs in Branson, his legacy as a beloved performer in Branson lives on. Ray Stevens joined the Branson music boom in 1991 with his own brand of musical comedy and fun and his own 2,000-seat theater. In the beginning, Stevens performed 12 shows a week and played to over 1.6 million fans that first season. He eventually took his show on the road but kept the theater and returned to Branson for 2 more seasons in 2004. When Andy Williams opened his Moon River Theater in 1992, it represented a big change as he became the first pop artist to perform regularly in Branson in his own theater. Andy was known for his Christmas television specials, and quickly became known in Branson for his Christmas variety show. The show featured a large orchestra, a spectacular set, a wide variety of acts, over-the-top costumes, and of course Andy Williams and his personal interaction with the audience. Andy continued to perform in his Christmas show until the year before his death in 2012. There were many other celebrities who came to Branson, opened theaters, and performed daily for ever-growing crowds. But there was one whose celebrity status was earned right in Branson, Shoji Tabuchi. Shoji grew up in Japan and honed his violin skills at a young age using the Suzuki method. After hearing a concert by the late Roy Acuff, he decided to come to America to play fiddle, and after playing in a number of places, made his way to Branson in the early 1980s. Shoji became a sensation in Branson and soon was drawing in large crowds. He built his own theater, which became famous in its own right because of its elaborate restrooms. Shoji's shows were elaborate stage productions featuring talented musicians, dancers, and singers, all decked out in colorful costumes and performing a mix of country, rock, and pop music. He often played twice and sometimes 3 times a day to sold-out crowds. He also was known, along with Andy Williams, for his elaborate Christmas productions. The Grand Palace was not built for a particular entertainer, but as a venue to bring special concerts and events to Branson. It was the largest theater in Branson, seating 4,000 guests. It hosted many entertainers and even hosted the world-famous Radio City Rockettes at Christmas for several seasons. The scenes here are from an Oak Ridge Boys concert at the venue. The location is now the site of the Branson Boardwalk and Aquarium. Other theaters were built to house productions, such as the Starlight Theater. The Starlight featured a 50-foot tall glass atrium and was built to look like small-town America in the 1950s. Inside was a restaurant and a 900-seat theater, with doors and a box office built to look like a 50s cinema. It featured the production show Lost in the 50s and later added Stuck on the 70s. They also hosted the world-famous Platters for a period of time. The Starlight Theater was rebuilt and converted to what is now Beyond the Lens. Another production show that ran for many years and was housed in several theaters that they called their own was Country Tonight. This show also ran in other entertainment locations around the country and featured country music acts, dancers, singers, and other acts along with a live band. A number of Branson musicians today can trace their Branson beginnings back to their days in Country Tonight. See if you recognize any of the faces in these shots from Country Tonight. In 1994, the Welk Resort and Champaign Theater opened on 165 just outside of Branson. It featured many of the stars of the late Lawrence Welk's television show that ran for many years. The show was an elaborate production with sets, costumes, and a full orchestra. It also was known for its Christmas production, which I was able to attend and photograph before the show shut down after 11 seasons. Although the Welk Show is no longer at the Welk Theater, the theater still hosts special appearances and concerts by well-known entertainers. Even after the Welk Show shut down, the theater continued to host the Lowe Family of Utah for a number of seasons as a featured morning show. The performers in the show were all family members, and all were extremely talented musicians, singers, and dancers, and were a high-quality act. These are scenes from the show and the Christmas show, which is no longer in Branson. Another family who spent many years doing a morning show in Branson and is a part of Branson's legacy is the Brat Family. The kids in this family literally grew up on stage in Branson, performing at various theaters until finally settling in at the Dick Clark American Bandstand Theater for many years. Mom, Dad, their daughter, and 2 sons, along with a live band, created a high-energy show of music, dance, comedy, and fun for the whole family. Sadly, the last season for the Brat Family was 2022. Although they will no longer be performing together, the Brats are still active in the music scene in Branson.
One, two, three.
A show that is still around is the Baldknobbers. The show that started it all is the first show in Branson, but it has changed. Most of the original cast is gone and the show is in a different theater. The Branson Famous Theater, home to the modern-day Baldknobbers, was built for the acrobats of China and housed that show for a number of years. The theater on the original Baldknobbers site has been torn down and replaced by Wonderworks. After the acrobats of China relocated, the Baldknobbers moved to their old theater, renamed it, and made it their new home. Here are some scenes from the old Baldknobbers Theater and the show there that is now a part of Branson history. Another show that is still very much alive and well in Branson is the Haygoods. The Haygoods are currently the hottest ticket in town, and as a homegrown act, sell out pretty much every show. But getting to where they are today is also an interesting story and part of Branson's history. The Haygoods started in Silver Dollar City, moved to the Branson Strip in the early 2000s, and made Music City Center their home. From there, they moved to the Americana Theater, then the RFD Theater, and finally into their home of a few years, the Clay Cooper Theater. I've watched their development into a Branson musical phenomenon for years, and would be remiss if I didn't share some of the footage as a part of any look back at Branson. I hope you've enjoyed our look back at parts of Branson as it once was. If you haven't done so, would you help us out and subscribe to the channel? It costs you nothing. If you need a place to stay in Branson, we have a centrally located condo on Thousand Hills Golf Course that we rent out when we're not there. For information, go to findushere.com/BransonCondo. And if you need information, schedules, and tickets to Branson area shows and attractions, go to findushere.com/Branson. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed our nostalgic look back at Branson as it once was. If you did, give us a thumbs up and share it with friends. And be sure to leave us a comment about what you thought. Meanwhile, check out this video next for more travel fun, and don't forget to subscribe.